Facebook stories are finally here, Snapchat stories are now searchable, Instagram opens their story ads for all businesses, and Twitter has made a bunch of long-awaited changes. I'm Kevin Oliveira, and there's a lot to talk about in social media today, but first, I'm gonna grab some coffee. As I hinted a few episodes back, Facebook has finally introduced the Stories feature to their main app. Now, the format is precisely like the others. You can add filters, you can add lenses, you can add titles, you can add graphics. If you've tried one, you've tried them all. I'm curious to see three things out of this. Number one, will this stick? Number two, what sort of usage numbers is Facebook going to release? And number three, if this comes to brands, because if so, this could be an opportunity for brands to get their message across to folks as their newsfeed visibility drops lower and lower and lower. Speaking of stories, the originator in all this, Snapchat, has finally made their stories searchable. Discoverability has always been a difficult part in getting users to be acclimated with the platform, but this update, which will roll out to select cities, will make 1 million stories searchable. Some example of local stories that could be searched are around your favorite bar, maybe your favorite restaurant, maybe it's a local sports game, or perhaps my favorite idea, puppies. Expect a few hiccups as this does roll out globally, but what I would say is in the meantime, identify keywords and locations that your target audience may be searching for and figure out ways that you can utilize Snapchat to make sure that you're prominently featured in these searchable stories. Oh, and it's also worth mentioning that Snapchat had the very best social April Fool's prank by releasing a filter that cloned the look and feel of Instagram. Not satisfied with that being enough of a jab, they also targeted Instagram's purported user base by making your mom one of the only people who liked your photo, thus playing up how Snapchat is the platform for the younger, hipper generation. Instagram has announced that they will be opening up these story ads for all businesses who are looking to reach the 150 million users who are actively using stories at a daily basis. The ads can be up to 15 seconds, they will autoplay with sound, they'll show up after your friends' stories, and they'll be skippable, and of course, they will be in the vertical video format. I know how much we hate the vertical video format, but as I mentioned previously, it's here to stay. We have to embrace it. So why is this important? Well, unlike Snapchat, Instagram has access to Facebook's data, which means they'll have the ability to hyper-target precisely who your target audience is. With stories everywhere, I highly encourage brands and users to experiment and study and develop new ways to tell stories on the format because it doesn't look like it's going anywhere. A year after floating the idea, Twitter has finally stopped counting @replies to the 140 character limit. Responses now include the user that you're mentioning at the top, followed by the tweet right below it. This change, of course, brings so much room for activities, including more hashtags, including expansion of your thoughts, including more snark. What are you going to use this extra space for? And finally, in a bit more somber news, Twitter has decided to remove the default egg profile picture, the picture synonymous with trolls and harassers and noobs, with a more bland, human-shaped profile picture. It's bland, but it's purposely bland because Twitter wants to incentivize users to add a personal profile picture to each account. Believe it or not, there was actually a lot of research and experimenting that went on with this because they wanted to make sure the design was free from race and free from gender. And there's a great article about this on Fast Company Design that I've linked below. Well, that's it for this week. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Kevin Oliveira, and I will be back next week with a bunch of new social stories because the social world will continue to turn and change with every single day. If you like this video, hit the like button below and maybe share it with someone who you think might find this useful as well. I'll see you next week. Cheers.